Football fanatics, get ready. The United Stand pre-season tour is here, powered by One Football, the ultimate app for live scores, transfers and match stats. Download now. No one gets you closer.
Some people say, oh, you're negative sometimes. I think there's things that you can be negative about. I'm going to sit here and be positive and say I fully expect Onana to be a Manchester United player to go on the tour next week. And I think we'll get a here we go today. We won't get him holding up the shirt. I don't for 1 minute think that you let David De Gea go because you're telling him he won't be first choice goalkeeper this season. I don't for 1 minute think you announce that David De Gea is leaving the football club. I don't think for 1 minute you do that and then miss out on Onana to go with Dean Henderson, who doesn't want to be at the football club. I think it's a smokescreen. I think it's a very similar smokescreen to what we had when we were trying to sign Mason Mount and we said we were talking to Casido and I said we weren't, and we weren't. You know, I think it's just all manoeuvrability from people who are not very good at transfers, and everybody can see through it. We're not walking away from the Onana deal, just the same as we didn't walk away from the Mason Mount deal. Erik Ten Hag absolutely fundamentally has to get this goalkeeper over the line, and he will get it over the line. So I think there's plenty of things to be worried about and there's plenty of things to be negative about, but I don't think it always has to be let's just be completely negative. I think there are some positives, and I think Onana will come in. What worries me from there is not about Onana. It's about when he says that I'm happy with the players we have now. How on earth can Erik Ten Hag be happy with the situation right now? He's got no goalkeeper. He's got no striker. He's factually worse off than he was at the end of last season, and we needed a lot of work. If you go back to the FA Cup final against Manchester City at the start of June, we were in a better position then than we are now. So how can he be happy with it? And that's a fact. That's a cold, harsh fact. The FA Cup team was a better squad than he's got now. Mason Mount is an upgrade on Eriksen. We have got no striker now. Whatever you think about Weghorst and Martial was fit, and Weghorst is real. And David De Gea is better than the goalkeepers we have at the moment. So how can Erik Ten Hag genuinely be happy with the squad and players that he has at the moment when he's in a weaker position and he goes on about progression? He's got no striker, he's got no goalkeeper, he's got about 7 or 8 players that he doesn't actually want at the club. He is not happy with what he's got at the moment, but you will get people saying Erik Ten Hag is a puppet. Erik Ten Hag is now a Glazer puppet. And, you know, the honest answer to that is, I don't think he is. What do you want Erik Ten Hag to do? Tell the truth? Tell the truth of what we know? Do you want him to sit there and go, after the first game of the pre-season, when you've got a young lad that's got a goal and an assist and everyone's trying to be positive and it's the first one, do you want him to sit there and go, well, obviously I'm not happy. Obviously I'm not happy with what's going on. I've got no striker. I've got no goalkeeper. I've still got all the crap I didn't want in the first place. I'd like to buy 3 or 4 more players. It's an absolute mess. Everybody else is looking better than us at the moment. Let's be honest. We've got no new owner either. We're in a right bloody mess. And this season really worries me. Thanks, lads. See you in Costa. I mean, that's probably what he would like to say, but if he says that, you completely blow the doors off Manchester United. You completely probably cause, more protests, more mess, shirts don't sell, tour tickets, people probably don't turn up. It doesn't change your situation, does it? It doesn't mean the board will go, oh, Eric, you've had a go at us publicly, there's 100 million quid. It's not going to happen. I think Erik Ten Hag has probably realised, like Mourinho did, like Van Gaal did, you have to be a politician as a Manchester United manager, and I think you get ground down into realism. I guarantee you Erik Ten Hag's not happy with the transfer situation at all, and when you listen to this comment, he said this is the moment in the season when you have time to train with your team. So I'm looking forward to Saturday and all the internationals coming in, and then you can really add a sense to the squad, the team, and the way of playing. I think that says more than it actually says. I think the first sentence says it all. This is the moment in the season when you have time to train with your team. That's the most important thing Erik Ten Hag said after the game yesterday. Because what he's saying there is, pre-season and the next few weeks is the time where you put the foundations into your season. Whether it's through fitness, the style of play, everything. Manchester United yesterday in both halves played the same way they did last season tactically. There was no possession in the final third. It was very quick transition. It was same formation, and it was pretty much what we saw last year. The reason for that is because the players know how we played last year, because that's how we played last year. And Erik Ten Hag has not implemented anything new because there's no point at the moment, and he's not had the whole team. So we played yesterday very much the same as last year. Erik Ten Hag, when he says that this is the time and the moment to train your team. What he's saying is the next few weeks is the time for me to set the team up for the next season. You know, the tactics, are we going to change tactics, formations, etc. How can he do that when he hasn't got new players? How can he do that when the team's in a worse state than it was last year? So people who say Erik ten Hag's a puppet, I don't think he's a puppet. I think he's doing damage limitation publicly by saying he's happy with what he's got because he knows that might be the squad he's got to work with next year. What's the point in, throwing a hand grenade into your own dressing room? There's just no point. And secondly, that's the truth. That's the truth. Now is the time he needs to be training his team for next season. We're going to have an expansive new team, aren't we, with a goalkeeper? Well, where is he to train with the rest of the team? Where's the striker to get used to what's going on at Manchester United as well? So I think that the honest truth is it's an absolute bloody shambles at the moment. So Ollie was a yes man for saying that, but not Erik ten Hag, says Roger. I don't know why you have... Roger, I don't get the need... I don't see the point in comparing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to Erik ten Hag. Was Jose Mourinho a yes man? He used to say he was happy with the squad as well. Was Louis van Gaal a yes man? He used to say he was happy with the squad at times as well. Every manager manages in a different way. All I'm saying, welcome to the Members Club, Danny Yates. All I'm saying is I'd be very, very surprised if Erik ten Hag started publicly berating things when actually he's got to try and make the best out of a bad situation. I'm not happy with that situation at all. I tell you what, if you want the honest truth, I think it's an absolute disgrace, and I'm worried about it now. It's a week today that we fly out to the United States for the American tour. As of now, we've got to do something we don't do. We've got to get an Onana official, which won't happen before the end of this week, and then you've got to get Højlund in the space of 3 or 4 days. I think we're going on tour without a striker. How? And it terrifies me, and it scares me, and it makes me depressed, and it makes me frustrated, and it's appalling, really. But how can we be going on tour? How can we going into pre-season without a recognised striker? It's a joke. And all these people who go on about Marcus Rashford, he's one person, and I don't really think he's a striker anyway. We've got one striker when Marcus Rashford comes back for the whole team. Yesterday, there wasn't... I know Joe Hugel scored, but even Joe would say, I'm not going to be the striking option for Manchester United from the bench next season. We've got no striker. We've had no striker for 10 months, and we've still got no striker now. I mean, what type of football club puts itself in a position on July the 13th and goes on a tour without a striker when Ronaldo did his interview with Piers Morgan last autumn? It's an absolute joke. Do you think Ten Hag is being a little naive, thinking the same tactics could work again if he doesn't get all of his transfer tactics, says Elho? There has to be an evolution in tactics. There 100% has to be an evolution in tactics, because if there isn't, you end up doing what Solskjaer did. The season that Solskjaer finished second behind closed doors with his counter-attacking football and McFred and all that, then the season after that, people figured it out and we got absolutely battered. Charlie says, so basically, unless we see a miracle in the next couple of weeks, next season will be Bruno over the top to Rashford and no progression. Well, look, Robert McCormack gets a lot of shout-outs on here, as do you, Charlie. He quite rightly said that last season he wasn't over the moon with the way that we played football. It was quite counter-attacking. I don't see how we're going to change the way that we play football based on not having a number 9. I think you've got to have a number 9, and we haven't got one at the moment. We're not going to get the public acceptance of it, but I think that it's very, very clear that Erik ten Hag would be a very concerned man at the moment based on what's going on in the transfer market. Club 1878 says, do you think the Glazers will stay? Best get used to it. If they were going, they would have accepted. 1, delays wear out the fans before accepting minority bid. And Erik ten Hag character is too strong and stubborn to be a yes man. He always says the opposite to the media, says Dej. Well, yes, I mean, I think that's something I did want to acknowledge today as well, was that with Erik ten Hag, I think a lot of people don't believe what he says anymore, because he does tend to do the opposite, whether it's Ronaldo, De Gea, and there's a lot of other stories as well. And Dan Watson says, how can there be an evolution in tactics if we don't get the players we need to play that way? It's a disgrace this club handles any transfer window, says Dan. I think, overall, I think it could be a really positive day for Manchester United fans today, because I think we could end up getting this Onana deal over the line, and I think that will add positivity, because people always get positive when we sign a player. But I think typically it's just very Manchester United, isn't it?